When Maud Met Boulder by Cora's Own Unicorn. My Pet Rock. It was a new day in the town of Nicolite. Although Celestia's sun was shining brightly in the sky, the town still seemed to have a look of dull grey, brown, and purple colours. Yes, the town didn't seem to look all that exciting or happy, but never judge a book from its cover. A little ways from the town was a farm. It was the property of the Pie family, Igneous Rock Pie, Cloudy Quartz Pie, and their 4 daughters. Maud Pie, who was the oldest of the 4, she was grey with a straight purple mane and tail. She wore purple eyeshadow to differentiate from the colour of her fur coat and deep teal blue eyes. Her other 3 sisters, Pinkie, or Pinkie, Diane Pie, Marble, and Limestone, were all quite different, especially Pinkie, who was her best friend. She was the only little pony who stood out from the entire rest of the Pies. She didn't have a muted yellow coat like her father Igneous, or a dark grey mane and tail like her sister Marble. Oh, no. She was pink all around. Pinkie had a light pink coat, but an even darker shade of pink in her mane and tail. The strangest thing, however, being how curly and poofy her mane and tail were. Her hair wasn't always like that, though, for her mane used to be as straight as the rest of the other sisters. She claimed that a rainbow had caused her hair to end up like this. Nonetheless, ever since then, the Pie family had been much happier. There was more smiling and talking amongst them than there ever was in years. "All right," said the stallion with a straw of hay in his mouth. He was a tough-looking stallion with a muted yellow fur coat and a dark and light grey mane and tail. He wore a necktie around his neck and the kind of hat that a scarecrow would wear. "Girls, why don't you go and harvest the rocks from the south field, while your mother and I go and harvest the rocks from the west field?" The 4 fillies looked at each other, then looked at their father in return.
"Yes, Dad,"
the sisters said in unison. Igneous Rock nodded, before going back inside the house to get his wife, leaving only the girls to hear the sound of the front door closing. Maud, Pinkie, Marble, and Limestone began to trot over to the south field. All except Pinkie, who was uncharacteristically began to hop all the way over to the field, her now curly mane and tail bouncing along with her. As soon as the Pie sisters reached the south field, they agreed to harvest the rocks from different sections, so that way they could get the job done a lot faster. Maud had took the section that was the furthest away from the other sisters. She had harvested about 100 pounds of rock so far, all among the 3 types: sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. She was the fastest out of the Pie siblings when it comes to harvesting rocks. She was probably the only earth pony in all of Equestria most passionate about rocks. As Maud began to harvest more from her section of the field, she noticed, from the corner of her eye, far, far away from all the others, was a rock all by itself. This made her curious. She had forgotten about all the other rocks in her section as she went straight towards the little rock, each hoof step being heard and each step being poked by the grainy, pebbly dirt. She finally approached the rock, staring at it intently, her bland expression non-changing. Maud sat on the dirt ground, her facial expression still remaining the same.
"Hello,"
she said in a monotone voice. She continued to stare at the specimen. This peculiar rock intrigued her. It was different from all the others that she had come across in her life. How it was furthest away from all the other rocks in the field. Truly, it wanted some private time. However, what fascinated Maud the most about it was its shape. The rock was shaped in a perfect oval. Maud then brought her head down and sniffed it, wanting to know what type of rock it was.
"Your metamorphic rock."
Suddenly, the corners of her mouth began to lift upwards, her mouth forming into a smile. She then began to play with it, rolling it around in the gravelly dirt ground, its sides getting specks of dirt. After playing with it for a few moments, Maud picked up the rock with her hoof. As she stared at the rock in her hoof, she realized that it fit perfectly.
I like you,
she said to it.
Let's be friends.
The young mare was suddenly interrupted by the sound of hopping. She turned around to see her little sister, Pinkie Pie.
Hi, Maud,
she greeted her sister, glee all in her voice.
What you got there in your hoof?
She looked at her new friend before extending her arm towards her sister. She watched as Pinkie's eyes widened in amazement.
Ooh, cool rock!
Pinkie exclaimed, her eyes becoming bigger as she spoke.
Where'd you find it?
It was sitting over here, away from all the other rocks.
Ooh, that must be one independent rock!
Maud took in what her best friend had said.
Yes, it is rather independent indeed.
Hey, Maud, do you think it's a boy or a girl?
The eldest looked at the rock in her hoof.
It's definitely a boy.
Pinkie looked at the rock more closely before nodding her head.
Well, he is very handsome. You know, I bet he would be a great pet.
The mare thought about what her little sister had said.
I always wanted a pet.
She looked at the rock again before looking at Pinkie Pie. Her blank expression remained.
I'm keeping him,
Maud said, her voice still very monotone.
This is great, Maud! You've always wanted a pet! What are you going to name him?
The grey earth pony thought for a moment. She thought of the possible names that would fit her new pet.
Rocky? No. Carbonite? No. Boulder? Boulder. I'll name him Boulder.
Pinkie smiled, extending her arm for her sister to place her new pet rock in her hoof.
Well, hello there, Boulder. My name is Pinkie Pie. I'm your owner's sister. Welcome to the family.
The little pink filly embraced the pet in a hug. Maud blushed as another smile appeared across her usual blank facial expression. Her best friend was always the loving type. She let go of the embrace before looking up at Maud.
Come on, big sis. Let's go introduce your new pet rock to Marble and Limestone.